Good morning, welcome to a morning review. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 28th of March. So looking at the euro dollar first, and yesterday, well, we saw the euro running through the daily 200, pushed up quite a way, but it ended up closing and giving us a bit of a shooting star on the dailies here. Now, we've still got the gap that's unfilled below, which may yet get filled. And I'm wondering whether it will do sooner rather than later, the way we're seeing this price action at the moment. Now, excuse me, we have got, as obviously the gap, there is also a weekly pivot below, which may be a secondary target in all of this if this continues. At the moment, it's shaping up for the possible retracements, but of course we've got support at this 4-hourly 21 yet to take effect. Maybe the 34, in which case we're pretty much closing the gap at that point. But we'll see how things pan out. From an hourly perspective, you can see this chart, we've already broken down from the sort of slightly rising trend there on the short-term hourlies there, breaking towards the hourly 50 at this point, and maybe down towards that weekly, back towards the weekly R1. Now, any break of that really, well, see how it pans out this morning. But to say it looks weak at the moment. If it continues in this vein, the gap fill seems quite obvious. To the upside, more difficult approach here. Really, it would be looking at maybe a break back above the 60.21s. Cable, bit of a similar picture, but not quite as aggressive. It never really had the same gap yesterday. There's a marginal gap on the short time frames that you can see, so it's not quite so obvious on the charts, but there is still that potential that coming back. It's got the weekly pivot still below. Looking at the shorter time frame, see this intermediate time frame, well, there's a couple of options here again. There may be opportunities to try and trade it back towards that gap, the weekly pivot. However, any sort of there's possibly a more defined trend line, well, I say a trend line, but a point at which I'd maybe become a bit more bullish on the pound. Now, it'll be interesting this week with the Prime Minister of the UK about to send the letter in on Article 50. It's already been put out there. We've had this discussion in the trading room. There was a lot of traders originally thinking that it would sell on the fact when it's done. Now, I think the government have been quite clever in terms of taking possibly some volatility out. They've actually told the market what day it will be, and it's just really how it reacts from that. Now, the Prime Minister is due to speak once it's done at a meeting in Birmingham, I think it is, an event. So I'm sure we will get some comments and possibly some market reaction to that. But for now, maybe the pound has the potential to continue pushing up at some point. And as I say, that some point for me may be on the break of this trend line this morning. Dollar yen. Seen a bit of a reversal here as well, and it's still, again, we've got the weekly pivots above us. It's medium term, it's as well diverged on the dailies there. Maybe a potential for a push back towards that weekly pivot. Looking at where we are now, the ranges weren't massive yesterday. It's mainly sold off through the Asian session, and it just never really did too much through the UK European session. It's now looking, well, it may continue in this upward move back towards the weekly, already above the daily R1, the daily pivot. Daily R1 could be an intermediate target there. There may be, if it starts pushing on over the next day or so, that weekly pivot. Aussie dollar taking a hammering here as ever. As I said yesterday, it looked weak. Whilst the others were seeing their rallies, the Aussie was still selling off, and once again we've seen a sell-off here, and it may be partially to do with commodity prices and weaker oil, but it certainly is taking a bit of a hammering at the moment. And again, it's it's done a good distance. I don't know, it's done more in its daily range. Yesterday's range was at least probably more actually than the daily range it did yesterday. At the moment, it chopped like a good one yesterday, eventually breaking out towards the weekly pivot, never really got up there, and then sold. And today, well, it's back off south, so probably a bit late to try and chase the immediate moves. It's difficult, even from a swing basis, for me to see opportunities apart from trying to sell into any retracements. Canadian dollar, well, it looks from what we're seeing here that again, and if you just look at oil, well, oil's staying pretty consolidated here, so we can't really blame it on oil for Canadian dollar. But we can see a bit of dollar strength. It looks like the situation in the US may be changing a little bit, and well, we're seeing a bit of dollar strength coming back in now. If we see this, well, it's pretty much pushing in. It's given us, I mean, already given a huge bar up today. Yeah, the only thing I would look at almost today is looking at potential reversals. It's hit past that previous high there, a bit messy. Difficult one for me to even look to trade this as today. It's almost ranged, done its range. Okay, yesterday did a bigger range, but this too could just stifle. No significant news out. Oh, we've got until 3:30 this afternoon. Sorry, we've got okay, we've got actually 3:10. So 2:55 there'll be speech will be released of the Bank of Canada's governor. So due to hold a press conference. Due to hold a press conference, but I'm not too sure about the contents, but there we go. So that may give the Canadian dollar a kicker at, as I say, the speech will be released before the 3:10 timing of the speech, so at 2:55, that's UK time. Okay, that's pretty much it for me on this. Is FOMC speaker at 6 p.m. Aside of that, so there's nothing else for me at the moment. Have a great day. Bye for now.